Hey guys! Welcome to the Whispers of Turkish Stars channel. All the details are in our video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share our video before continuing. Thank you so much. Gökberk Demirci has been at the center of attention again, and as always, questions about his private world have been right on his heels. At a high-profile event he attended, tabloid reporters tossed out a pointed question that immediately caught fire across social media: is there a wedding in 2026? In a matter of hours, the handsome actor's calm answer became the most talked-about soundbite of the evening. He stayed poised, offered a small smile, and spoke with the kind of measured certainty that keeps both fans and the press leaning in. "We don't know what life brings," he began evenly, "but right now my mind is on work." His words rippled through gossip pages and comment sections, and the public read every syllable like a clue. He stressed that he is living through a defining period in his career, emphasizing long days on set, a stream of new scripts, and a renewed dedication to craft. With so many responsibilities stacked on his desk, it was hard not to wonder, did this mean marriage had been pushed to the back burner? The question floated over the room. Yet he never swung the door shut. On the contrary, he carefully framed the subject with a sense of responsibility and respect. "Marriage," he said, "is not an errand you squeeze between call times and rehearsals. It's something that makes sense only when timing and hearts line up. It's a very meaningful decision," he shared, "and it should arrive at the right time with the right person. You can't set it by alarm." Those few lines were enough to set the tone. Fans labeled the approach rational, grounded, and mature, and the comment chains filled with nods to his measured perspective. Naturally, his stance poured new fuel onto the long-running fascination with his relationship with Özge. Their names, when said together, tend to stir an entire ecosystem of speculation. He didn't feed the rumor mill, though. He stayed loyal to the boundary he's kept for years, the one that separates the set lights from the living room lamp. He reminded everyone that he values his work first, and that when the time comes to talk about the rest, he will be the one to speak. Even so, the interpretation machine revved into high gear. Columnists began reading in between the lines, concluding that he wasn't turning his back on the idea of a wedding, especially not one with Özge, but that he's intent on climbing each rung in his profession with deliberate steps. Meanwhile, whispers have grown louder about Gökberk's interest in projects beyond the borders. Friends of friends claim he has been taking meetings, reading screenplays from international producers, and opening himself to stories that could push him into a new realm of visibility. The timing of those claims provided context for the wedding question. If the horizons are widening, then perhaps the calendar is too tight for something as monumental as a ceremony. Even so, the night underscored his ability to steer the conversation without causing a storm. His refusal to throw out a firm yes or no for a 2026 wedding kept the crowd guessing and the headlines lively. Single sentence by single sentence, he let the room know that both his path forward and his heart space would keep leading the way. It wasn't just the fans and press noting his words. Other prominent names at the gathering listened closely, and soon the informal chatter drifted toward where Gökberk plans to go next. He explained he's deliberately avoiding earlier patterns, chasing characters that don't feel like echoes of each other, and hunting for stories that surprise him the way they could surprise the audience. He pointed out that becoming a character doesn't end when the director calls cut. It means carrying their burdens home, learning their rhythms, and lending them your own. And that, he implied, requires striking a delicate balance between set life and the small, quiet corners of home. He didn't declare the balance impossible, but he admitted it isn't perfect yet. Taking on marriage before that balance feels solid would be a weighty choice. Still, despite the persistence of journalists who wanted a headline-worthy sentence, he never lost his composure. He spoke softly about how the topic of marriage can be rushed by the pace of the conversation around it. "Society loves a timeline," he said, "and the media loves a countdown. But every life moves differently. Every couple writes its own calendar." He didn't scold anyone, and he didn't shut down the talk, he simply reframed it. That nuance resonated, especially with younger followers who often feel pushed by dates and expectations. By the next morning, his quotes had gone viral, not because they were sensational, but because they felt honest. People close to Gökberk quietly suggested he's savoring a more private chapter off set. After long days under bright lights, he prefers evenings that belong to family, a few trusted friends, and moments that don't ask for proof. Those who see him away from the cameras describe a man who knows how to step back when he needs to, a man who sometimes picks a quiet trip over crowded rooms. There were hints that Özge and he have found comfort in carving out time that belongs only to them, where laughter isn't a headline and affection isn't a photo op. With his schedule packed and his goals stacked high, it makes sense he'd be extra careful about adding a wedding to that delicate equation. The gossip world came to a shared conclusion: the door isn't closed. He didn't offer a day or a month or even a season, but he did send a message that he trusts the current of life more than the clock on the wall. For now, the mission is craft scripts, rehearsals, rehearsed lines that somehow turn new with each take. The future remains a mystery with a spotlight on it, and that spotlight, as always, follows him wherever he steps. The industry, the fans, the curious strangers on their phones, they'll all keep watching, measuring, imagining, waiting for the next whisper or sign. Compared with the cyclone romances and sudden ceremony announcements that sometimes shake the celebrity world, Gökberk's outlook is a quieter kind of headline. He prefers rhythm over rush. He doesn't shroud his life in shadow, but he doesn't trade it for noise either. That restraint has earned him nods from colleagues who understand how hard it is to keep a center when the world keeps pulling. It has made his audience admire him not only for the roles he plays but also for the way he writes his own script. In comment sections, beyond the endless questions about dates and rings, there is respect for the way he carries himself. Of course, the discourse on social media took many shapes. There were those who said he's wise beyond his years, others who said they respect his devotion to his craft, and many who chimed in with a single refrain: they want him and Özge to be happy, together or taking their time, celebrated or unseen. They praised his serenity amid a noisy conversation and underlined that fame has not shaken his footing. And though the spotlight can demand grand statements, he has resisted the urge to speak in fireworks. He has learned how to say just enough, how to share a window without handing over the keys. Another murmur in industry circles insists he is on the verge of a bold professional leap. Some say he's listening to offers that could push his presence to an even broader audience, with stories that stretch his range and test his instincts. If those conversations are real, they offer a clear reason why a wedding wouldn't fit neatly on the horizon right now. Big moves take big energy, and big energy needs time. That kind of schedule rewrites a person's day-to-day, and until it finds a steadier rhythm, the wiser choice is to avoid promising milestones you can't nurture at the pace they deserve. In many ways, his response to the 2026 question distills his entire philosophy. He avoids walls or final answers. He keeps doors ajar and windows unlocked. He trusts that if a moment is meant to arrive, especially one as significant as a marriage, it won't need to be forced. And at the same time, he has no trouble saying that his craft is asking for his best right now. His confidence suggests that the limelight will follow his choices rather than steer them, and that whichever path he takes will make sense when it's taken. He has placed the marriage question on a shelf where it can wait without gathering dust. What makes that stance stand out is its clarity without coldness. He isn't teasing the public with mysteries, nor is he performing indifference. He sits somewhere rare, he acknowledges the curiosity, honors the conversation, and still refuses to live by it. Viewers noticed how relaxed he looked when the question landed: no fidgeting, no quick escape. If anything, his presence said more than his words. It said that he won't accept a timeline unless it feels like his. It said that he won't move just to meet expectations. And in the more tender shade of the evening, it hinted at something else, too, that the feelings he shares with Özge are kept safe by the care with which he carries them. Whispers claim he has doubled down on self-work lately, a recalibration that's as physical as it is mental. There are classes, coaching sessions, quiet mornings spent on technique, nights revisiting scenes and lines he's already mastered, because mastery is never really finished. There's training, discipline, and a new respect for rest. He is tuning his routine so that everything else, social life, private joys, the quiet hours with Özge, fits a schedule built to last. It's not a sprint, and he's not trying to race to the altar or outrun the rumors. He's trying to arrive somewhere that feels like home. And so the night ended the way it began, with a simple question, a thoughtful answer, and a flurry of interpretations. If 2026 brings a wedding, it will be because the paths have aligned, not because a headline demanded a date. If it doesn't, it will be for reasons that do not erase love or dedication. Until then, we keep watching, and he keeps working, and somewhere in between, life writes itself in ways no prediction can fully capture. This brings us to the end of our video. If you enjoyed our video, please subscribe to the Whispers of Turkish Stars channel and share it. Goodbye.